Picture the sky. Vast, borderless, seemingly infinite, right? Well, on a November evening back in 1996, two massive commercial airliners carrying a total of 349 souls were hurtling toward the exact same point in that infinite sky, and they were completely blind to one another. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down the anatomy of a disaster that literally changed how the world flies forever. We're tracing the exact sequence of events that led to the deadliest mid-air collision in aviation history.
On that fateful evening, these two huge aircraft were converging in the twilight skies near Delhi, and it set the stage for a tragedy that was witnessed by only one passing military crew. A U.S. Air Force pilot flying nearby radioed in this chilling report. "We saw something to our right. Looks like a big fireball. Looks like a big explosion." To really understand how this unimaginable event came to pass, we have to rewind. We need to look at the exact, highly specific conditions that set up that terrible moment. To comprehend how 349 lives were lost in an instant, we first have to look at the radically different backgrounds of these two flights. We aren't just looking at two planes here. We're looking at two entirely different operational cultures, completely different backgrounds, colliding in a single, narrow airspace corridor over Indira Gandhi International Airport.
Let's break down who was in the sky. First, we've got Saudia Flight 763. This was a modern Boeing 747 loaded with 312 occupants, departing India. Highly experienced crew, completely fluent in English. Then, flying in the opposite direction, we have Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907. Now, this was an older, Soviet-era Ilyushin cargo plane carrying 37 people, descending into Delhi. Their crew operated under this 5-person structure, and, this is incredibly important, they had very limited English proficiency. They basically relied on a single radio operator to translate instructions from air traffic control. So, you have one flight instructed to climb to 14,000 feet, and the other instructed to descend to 15,000 feet.
But here's the catch. Delhi Air Traffic Control was operating with an outdated primary surveillance radar, or PSR. If you're not familiar, this system gives a controller the aircraft's distance and bearing, so they see exactly where the planes are on a flat 2D map, but it gives absolutely zero automated data on their altitude. Meaning, controller VK Dutta, who was managing this airspace during peak hours, was literally blind to how high these planes actually were. He had to rely 100% on the pilots verbally reporting their altitudes over the radio.
To make matters even more complicated, the Indian Air Force restricted a lot of the surrounding airspace at the time. What that did was force civilian departures and arrivals into a single bidirectional corridor. Think of it like a single stairway to the sky, where people are walking up and walking down at the exact same time. To avoid disaster, the whole system relied purely on strict procedural altitude rules. There was just zero margin for error.
When you look at the timeline, it is terrifyingly brief. In a span of just 6 minutes, these two aircraft were placed on a head-on reciprocal track. At 1832, the Saudia Boeing departs Delhi. Just 2 minutes later, at 1834, the descending Kazakh Ilyushin is cleared down to 15,000 feet. Then, at 1838, the climbing Saudia flight hits 14,000 feet and is told by the controller to hold there, so they're separated by just a procedural 1,000-foot vertical buffer. 6 minutes. That is all it took for this situation to become absolutely critical. And this is where things start to go wrong. Official inquiries later revealed that the Kazakh radio operator reported to Delhi ATC that they had, quote, reached 15,000 feet. But flight data recorders later proved that at that exact second, they were actually still passing through 16,300 feet. They hadn't reached it yet. This incorrect reporting, which was likely just a tragic misunderstanding between the English words reached and approaching, created the very first link in a deadly chain of misunderstandings. Trying his absolute best to manage this incredibly tight airspace, controller VK Dutta recognized the converging tracks. He radioed the Kazakh crew with a very clear warning saying, "Roger, maintain FL 150, identify traffic 12 o'clock reciprocal, Saudia Boeing 747 at 10 miles, report if in sight." It was a textbook warning about the oncoming Boeing straight ahead. But inside that Ilyushin cockpit, there was overlapping chatter, severe language barriers, and it completely masked the danger. Which brings us to the fatal misinterpretation. The Kazakh radio operator was busy talking to ATC, and he heard the traffic warning mention the Saudia plane at level 140 or 14,000 feet. But the distracted Kazakh co-pilot, who was only half listening and really struggling with English, heard that number and wrongly assumed 14,000 feet was his new descent clearance.
Without the captain stepping in to correct him, the Aleutian just kept descending right past its assigned 15,000 feet, plunging directly into the Boeing's path.
It wasn't until the absolute last moments that anyone realized the error. Just seconds before impact, the Kazakh radio operator glanced at the altimeter and frantically shouted for the pilots to climb. His translated words from the cockpit voice recorder are haunting. Get to 150 because on the 140th, but both aircraft were flying through thick, heavy clouds that completely obscured any chance of a visual escape. Basically, they never even saw each other until it was way, way too late.
At precisely 1310 UTC, at an altitude of exactly 14,000 feet, the two aircraft intersected. The left wing of the descending Kazakh plane sliced right through the left wing and engines of the Saudia jet, while the Saudia plane's tail actually sheared off the vertical stabilizer of the Ilyushin. Both of these massive, heavy aircraft were destroyed instantly in a catastrophic mid-air breakup. The Saudia plane entered a rapid, uncontrollable spiral, and the Ilyushin fell into a flat spin.
Down in the Delhi control tower, those two radar blips simply vanished from the controller's screen. The radio just went dead silent. And then came that chilling radio call we mentioned earlier from the US Air Force pilot flying nearby. He witnessed what he initially thought was a lightning strike, but it persisted. It was two massive fireballs diverging away from each other, just plummeting out of the clouds and down to the earth.
3:49. The wreckage rained down over a 7-kilometer trail near the farming village of Charkhi Dadri. The disaster claimed the lives of all 312 people on board the Saudia Boeing and all 37 people on board the Kazakhstan Airlines Ilyushin. There was not a single survivor. To this day, it remains the deadliest mid-air collision in the history of aviation.
In the aftermath of such an immense, heartbreaking loss, the aviation industry had to know why. An immediate court of inquiry, led by Justice R.C. Lahoti, was set up to dissect the flight data recorders, analyze the radar transcripts, and find the absolute root cause of this unprecedented tragedy. I mean, they needed to understand how two highly experienced crews could fly perfectly good airplanes directly into one another.
The investigators were incredibly meticulous here. Right off the bat, they explicitly ruled out sabotage, terrorism, or any kind of internal explosion. They also confirmed there was absolutely zero mechanical failure. Both aircraft were perfectly airworthy, completely free of technical defects before the strike. The failure, therefore, was entirely human and entirely systemic. Ultimately, the commission concluded the primary cause was the Kazakh crew's unauthorized descent below 15,000 feet. But you have to look at the compounding factors here, because it's like a giant puzzle of failures. Severe English language barriers meant they literally couldn't understand ATC. A lack of standard callouts meant the pilots weren't cross-checking each other's work. The absence of secondary surveillance radar meant the controller couldn't even see their deadly descent happening. And crucially, there was no traffic collision avoidance system, or TCAS, on either plane to sound a final alarm. The human cost of Charkhi Dadri was just immeasurable. But, as we so often see with major aviation disasters, it forced a massive reckoning. The investigation into this collision sparked immediate, sweeping safety reforms that permanently changed global aviation. The tragedy exposed fatal flaws in the system, and frankly, the industry had no choice but to fix them immediately.
Let's actually walk through the critical reforms that followed. First, authorities rapidly bifurcated air corridors, meaning they permanently separated arriving and departing flights into completely different lanes. No more single stairway to the sky. Second, the installation of TCAS, that onboard collision avoidance system we mentioned, became mandatory for all commercial flights. Third, strict universal English proficiency standards were enforced for all international flight crews. And fourth, advanced secondary surveillance radar was rapidly implemented, finally giving controllers real-time altitude data on their screens.
You know, we fly so safely today precisely because of the hard lessons learned back in 1996. But knowing that modern aviation safety was largely written in tragedy, it really leaves you with a question. How many systemic flaws are we currently tolerating across other industries, just waiting for the next disaster to force a change? The Charkhi Dadri collision is a stark reminder that we have to continually question and refine our systems before, not after, the unthinkable happens.